Hello everyone, welcome to this Video Sans Frontier video. My name is Jay Wakefield, and before we begin, I'd like to apologise for the mess on my table here. I know I've got a couple things going on and a couple things that do need tidying up. Gonna have to sort that out as soon as I can. Anyway, that said, today I wish to bring you a retrospective, and the retrospective is going to be on the mobile phone that I have been using for the past 2 years, well, until about last month when my contract came up for renewal. Now, I'm sure some of you will already know what phone that was that I was using, but for those who don't, I would like to introduce you all to the Samsung Galaxy S5. Now, I know that a lot of people are not fans of Samsung. I am also aware of the current goings-on with the Samsung Galaxy Note 7. However, Samsung have done what they can to try and issue a recall and stop people from using the Galaxy Note 7. Unfortunately, there have been cases where people have been hurt by the exploding battery. And that is something that I'm aware of. I'm also aware of the numerous lawsuits brought to Samsung by Apple, for things that apparently Samsung have copied from Apple. I know one of the things that Apple got annoyed about was the idea that other phones were rounded rectangles, and apparently Apple didn't like that. Didn't want them to be rounded. I personally don't accept that as a lawsuit, because a shape is a shape. You're going to go around copyrighting shapes? Anyway, so with that all said, this video is going to take absolutely none of that into account. I really don't care what your biases are. As far as I'm concerned, different phones different phones are okay. It's okay that, if you have or maybe are watching this on an Apple device or an HTC or a Sony or a Motorola or Huawei or Blue or whatever. That is perfectly fine. We're all different. So it would follow that some of us would like different phones from each other. And that is absolutely fine. I think, however, there is one thing that we can all agree on. There's nothing quite like a good cup of tea. Fantastic. So, on with the review then. Samsung Galaxy S5. It came to us in April 2014, after 2 months after its announcement in February 2014. And some of you might be wondering, what are the specs of this phone? It has a quad-core 2.5 gigahertz Crate processor. Crate! It has a Snapdragon 801 chipset, 2 gigabytes of RAM, and it has some kind of graphics GPU. The graphics chip drives this display, which is a 5.1 inch AMOLED display with capacitive touch, with a resolution of 1920. Well, actually, no, it isn't. It's 1080 by 1920, because obviously it's portrait. The cameras. It has a 16 megapixel camera with flash, geotagging, smell detection, HDR, all that good stuff. And as you probably can tell, this phone is actually blue. I remember when I got it actually a couple of years ago. I'd seen a black and white one, and thought about throwing in a joke, going, "Well, I can't decide between black and white, so do you hear grey one?" To which I replied, "Actually, the phone does come in black, white, gold, or blue." Well, those of you who know me can only imagine how I felt on hearing that this phone was available in blue. Yeah. I said, "It's not available in rose gold," and stormed out of the shop. Actually, no, I'm kidding on. So, yeah, I got this phone in blue, which was nice. So, let's actually have a look at it. So, the display itself is actually a Corning Gorilla Glass display. Can't remember if it was 2.0 or 3.0. Obviously supporting multi-touch. A lot of phones do nowadays. I'd be a bit worried if it didn't. It has... there's an LED up here somewhere. And that's actually... I think that's an RGB LED because it can actually change colour. Obviously, it will flash different colours depending on what what is happening on your phone. There's also a front-facing 2-megapixel camera, good for video calling or. But first, let me take a selfie. Display is 5.1 inches diagonally. There's 2 touch-sensitive buttons on this phone. The application button and the home button. And then the back button, sorry. And then, of course, there's the home button, which also houses a fingerprint reader. On the top, we have something quite special. I don't know if you remember these, but phone manufacturers actually used to include, it was basically a jack that was meant for either headphones or headphone and microphone headsets. And these were quite something because, you could plug in a regular pair of headphones that you've maybe got with a Walkman or, CD player or an MP3 player or what have you, and they would work. Sorry, I had to put that one in there. On this side, however, something that actually is quite interesting, an infrared port. And I'm not being sarcastic here and going, "Oh, do you remember when you put infrared ports on phones?" Yeah, I know that was the damn thing, but that was way back in the past. However, this isn't there for infrared data exchange. What this is for was, I really don't know if it had any other uses other than with the Peel remote control app that was available on the phone. Basically what that did is turned your phone into a universal remote. And it worked quite well, and it had some quite nifty features. So with the correct remote code installed, you can actually schedule it to switch on your TV or change the channel to put on a program that you might want to watch. Obviously, the phone would have to be in range of the television and be pointed at it, so yeah, I can't really see that going too well. So what I'll do is I'll obviously go around the phone. So on the right hand side of the phone, we have the power/lock button. Nothing else on this side. On the bottom, we actually have a micro USB 3 port. This is actually behind a wee flap here, but there's a reason for that. That was how this phone got its water resistance. Unfortunately, over the years, a lot of these Galaxy S5s have lost these wee flaps, but I've been quite mindful to keep mine intact. So, as you can see, we have a micro USB 3 charger charger and data cable port. Now these will work with USB 2 cables. In fact, it was a USB 2 cable I got in a box, but I decided to try the USB 3 one, and it did kind of help videos transfer quite quickly. But to be honest, I think my current phone, the Galaxy S7, actually can transfer files nearly as quickly with its USB 2 port. Although, having said that, you know, I am a wee bit put out that they chose to omit this from the Galaxy S7, as this can also act as a TV out port. So, you know, you could connect this to your television and, you know, output it on that. But, you know, with that said, you know, USB-C has become a thing, although that is still kind of in its infancy as far as a lot of devices are concerned. Yeah, so you've got that. On the left-hand side, you've basically got volume up and down buttons. On the rear of the phone, you have the 16 megapixel rear-facing camera, a flash, and this interesting device, which is a heart rate monitor. Yeah, just what I wanted on my smartphone, a heart rate monitor. Now, there is a caveat with that. Don't use it for actually monitoring your heart. Basically, it's to be used with the Samsung Health application, you know, just to kind of get a roundabout measurement of, you know, kind of what your heart's beating at. Don't use it as a diagnostic tool. You know, if you fear that you could be suffering from some kind of medical malady, please ring for a doctor. In the case of the UK, please ring NHS Direct, or in Scotland, NHS 24. So, what I've done is I've actually went and reset this phone to factory defaults, you know, so I can show you it. So, here is the main screen of the Samsung Galaxy S5. Yes, I completely missed out on the S6 because, you know, it's a 2-year contract. And to be honest, the S6 actually missed out on a couple of features that are present on the S5, of which I'll go into in a wee bit. So, this is the home screen. I'd like to add a wee caveat and say that you know, this phone, when I got it 2 years ago, it was running Android. I can't remember if it was. Yeah, I think it was running 4.4.2 KitKat. However, it was updated in 2015 to Android 5 Lollipop, and then it was updated this year to Marshmallow, which it is currently sitting on. Talking of Android updates, Marshmallow is the last major Android release this phone is going to get. I'm believing it will still get security updates, but it won't get Nougat, or Nougat. Don't know how to pronounce it. But that said, you know, it's still quite a useful phone at the moment. Nougat, or whatever you call it, and does not support the Snapdragon 800, 801 series chipsets, nor would it support the 400 or 401 series chipsets. But we are on Marshmallow at the moment, so this is running with TouchWiz. So by default on the home, you get multiple home screens. Because this was a Vodafone handset, it obviously has come with quite a bit of Vodafone stuff on here. Galaxy Essentials, all that good stuff. Really doesn't mean a thing to me, and I just usually have the single home screen. So by default, you get a couple of applications. You get all your Google stuff, so Google Docs, that kind of thing. You get Google Drive. There's even Dropbox. And actually, when I got this phone, I was entitled to 50 gigs of free Dropbox space for a couple of years. So that was kind of nice to have, even though I didn't use it. But it was still there. Obviously, there's Google Plus, Google Hangouts, that kind of stuff. Galaxy apps. That's kind of a Samsung's own app store. Obviously, you get Google Play as well. Photo gallery. Oh yeah, and you've got to give everything permissions now. Android 6 and above. In fact, I think it was Android 6 that brought that in. So you take a photograph or make a video, it'll appear in the gallery, plus any pictures that you download. You've also got things like Google Maps. You've got My Vodafone. Samsung give you a basic file manager, which I think is quite good. More Google Play stuff. You have the Google Play Store, but instead of the Google Calendar, you get the S Planner. That's not bad actually. It's a pretty good calendar app. You also get a nice wee widget that actually gives you a upcoming events view, a today view, and it gives you a wee instructions on how to use. Well, it actually asks you, if you want Samsung S Planner to access your calendar, which you would. So I could put in an appointment here. So I don't know, make a cup of tea. Location, home, and it's Saturday now technically, so what I can do is I can schedule that for later today. Because it'll take me an hour to make a cup of tea. I can remind myself, let's say 15 minutes before. Although I generally don't need reminded as to when I need a cup of tea. But there you see, it's actually came up on the Mini Today view. Quite good. Quite like that. So, one of the reasons I chose the Samsung Galaxy phone is because of the accessibility features, which we can take a look at now. First off, I think this grid view is nice because I can see the icons, but I really can't see the text. So what I'm going to do is do it as list view. So I've already set some of the accessibility options. You can see how big the text is on here. Vision. So hearing, you have flash notification. So basically the phone will flash the camera light when you receive a notification. Turn off all sound. Samsung subtitles. or you could use Google subtitles instead. Sound balance, mono audio, and here's something that I kind of like: baby crying detector. I mean, again, I can't say how effective this is, even on the Galaxy S7, which also has a doorbell detector. But it is. I kind of like that. You know, I mean, basically, what we're starting to see here is phones not just having assistive technologies that help you use the handset, but also incorporating assistive technologies that help make things easier in everyday life. I like that. That's so a big thumbs up to Samsung for that. I mean, Google has a few accessibility options, but I mean, the reason that I went for a Samsung phone is because Samsung have really added to these options and really fleshed them out. So, anyway, Vision. You've got TalkBack, which is a screen reader. Dark screen, keep the screen turned off at all times for privacy. So that's if you've got TalkBack on. I'm guessing you wouldn't even need to use the screen. Double press the power key to enable or disable this function. Rapid key input. Use the keyboard and keypad more easily by tapping keys once instead of double tapping. So I'm guessing actually, if I remember rightly, when you tap a key, it will actually tell you what key you've just tapped. But if you know your way around it, which is more than could be said for me, and I've been using touchscreen phones for the past 6 years now, then obviously you can just have the keys tapped once. Then you've got font size. Huge. See, a lot stock Android just kind of gives you larger size off or on. Whereas on the S5, you have a number of sizes to choose from, which was quite good. High contrast fonts, that basically emboldens everything. See how the grayed out text is actually coming in clear. And in certain apps, it'll put outlines around fonts. Use with caution on this one, I will say, because sometimes it just kind of might make stuff, certainly third-party apps, it might make it so that they really don't look right. Notification reminder. So you can have your phone notify you more than once about things that have came up. You've got negative colors. So basically, that's you can have white on black instead of black on white. Color adjustment. Now, this is something that was heavily touted with Lollipop, actually. It'll ask you, it'll assess your vision, so you've got to, group the colors in terms of similarity. So, I'm guessing, yeah. That one. That one. All these party colors. So obviously it's not obviously wanting me to get the absolute most correct answer possible. It just wants to know, what I think is the right, color similarity. I've made a spectrum. If, someone had certain color blindness, they might not be able to get it right. And basically what would happen, I think, from that point is the phone would adapt to their vision. So it's telling me that color adjustment is not necessary in my case. But what I could do, I could maybe reset, start again. I'm just going to, put these colors in a random order. And then we'll see what the phone has. These colours now, they do look a wee bit more certainly seem to look a bit more wacky. At least to my eyes anyway. Obviously, you know, if someone had that kind of colour blindness, it would be, you know, it would be a lot better for them to see. So as you can see, these colours kind of have more of a purpley hue. You know, reds would be displayed as purple, with a particular colour blindness condition that I programmed in there. So I'll show you the rest of the accessibility options, although I think I've shown you most of them because you've seen the magnifier. The magnifier is brilliant. You know, it works a lot like the one in iOS. You know, except on an iPhone you'd use 3 fingers to move it. On here you just use the 2, and then you triple tap with just the 1 finger. But what you have here is an accessibility shortcut. You can either press and hold the power key until you hear a confirmation or vibration, or double tap and hold to hear, you know, to enable or disable accessibility. So, I mean, there you have it. So what do I think to this phone? Well, over the past 2 years, it has served me extremely well. I've never actually tested the water resistance by running it under a tap or sticking it into a bowl of shallow water or anything. But I have used it out in the rain, which, to be honest, I live in Scotland. It's unavoidable to protect your phone from rainwater. Sometimes you will have to use it out in the rain. This is kind of part of life here in Scotland. But at least I know that it won't be water damaged, you know, by using it in a shower. I mean, there's certain things that I do on a phone which would require me to have it out in the rain, and that doesn't mean playing Pokemon Go. Things like using the GPS, for example. Google Maps, absolutely brilliant. Speaker's not too bad on this phone. The screen, excellent. But also the actual toughness of this phone. You know, it can survive. Well, it's meltdown resistant, I can tell you that. I think this nick here that you can barely see if I can zoom in on it or what have you. That's basically the only casualty from having a meltdown. Obviously, this rubber, you know, will obviously age, and it becomes a bit of a fingerprint magnet. It's not actually as shiny in real life as the camera is making it look, however. But yeah, I mean, I don't know how long this will last. One thing that this phone does have that the S6 didn't is a memory card slot. So I can put a memory card in here. And it does have a removable battery as well. And the S6 also loses the water resistance that the S5 and the S7 have. It's a bit of a shame, actually. But yeah. Problems with this phone? Well, obviously it succumbs to the usual kind of Samsung slowdown, I would say, after, you know, Samsung devices. You know, I've had a few Galaxy Tabs and they've all been, you know, gotten quite slow after a couple of years. But then again, that could happen, I suppose. I mean, devices don't stay young forever. One big problem, the microphone on this phone, you have to kind of hold it. You have to make sure that you don't turn your head away from it slightly. You have to, you know, make sure you just hold it to the side of your head, and, you know, don't kind of keep it away or anything. Don't move it. too far away because the microphone will just not pick up. But the loudspeaker microphone is absolutely fine. You guys have heard it. Video on picture quality, again, you'll have seen it on my previous videos. And yeah, so all in all, this has been a fantastic phone. It replaced an iPhone 4S, and actually, ever since I started owning mobile phones back in 2001, this phone I have kept the longest. Out of any of the phones I have had, I've kept this one the longest. And that is quite something. It's been my primary phone for 2 years, and it has served me, has basically just been exemplary. Would I recommend it? If you're looking for a used phone, yeah, I guess I could, but please bear in mind that, it is a 2-year-old phone and is not going to run the very latest version of Android. But, if you absolutely have to have a flagship phone, even one from a couple of years ago, this will see you right, especially with the accessibility options. It's kind of nice that Android's caught up to Apple in that regard, and that Samsung has kind of improved on what Google give you to really kind of offer a very accessible phone. And this now means that you don't have to buy an iPhone if you're visually impaired. You have a choice. And some of the accessibility features that I've seen on this phone and on my S7, I want to see other device manufacturers think about implementing them. I think it's a good thing. Anyway, this video's gone on far too long, but I hope you've enjoyed watching it. If you have, please feel free to subscribe to my channel, like Videos on Frontier on Facebook, and, of course, please also feel free to follow me on Twitter. But for the meantime, I'd like to thank you all for watching this video, and please join me for my next one. Cheery bye.